but if you want to do this grassroots or you want to do this with actual skill, because any fool can sell something for less, you need to be creative. And that's where 10-80-10 rule AI is coming in hard, helping with that. So like I said, billions of data points. I can't analyze that. So that's what we're super excited about, is getting that piece of success.
Welcome to the Ecom Breakthrough Podcast. Are you ready to unlock the full potential and growth in your business? You've already crossed 7 figures in sales, but the challenge is knowing how to take your business to the next level.
If you're running a 7-figure e-commerce brand today, you already know the biggest challenge isn't just growth, it's actually managing the increased complexity of the business. Well, what if AI could help manage all of that? Today's guest has been building exactly that in his own brands. Welcome to the Ecom Breakthrough Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Hadley. I scaled my own brand from 0 to 8 figures, and now my mission is to take it to over 9 figures. On my journey to 9 figures, I bring you the unfiltered conversations with the smartest minds in e-commerce. Past guests include Ezra Firestone, Kevin King, and Michael E. Gerber, author of The E-Myth. I'm giving you the real strategies, the systems, and the mindset to help entrepreneurs like you scale from 7 to 8 and even 9 figures and beyond. Today, I'm super excited to welcome back onto the show, Shawn Travis. Shawn is a 14-year veteran of the LA County Fire Department, turned e-commerce entrepreneur and founder of Ecom for Heroes, a coaching and training company that helps ambitious entrepreneurs, many of them first responders, build profitable e-commerce brands. His programs have helped graduates average $131K in revenue within 18 months. Shawn is also the creator of Kaldon, a AI-powered e-commerce platform that takes someone from product idea to fully launched, branded, marketing-ready business in days instead of months. He lives in Southern California with his wife, Lindsay, their brand new son, Jet, and their dog, Nala. With that introduction, welcome back onto the show, Shawn.
Yeah, let's go.
Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Good to have you back on. You dropped some massive value previously, and then you followed up with some text as we've been following up since the last time we spoke. And you're like, dude, I have found some game-changing AI stuff that I got to share with the audience. So I'm just as excited to have you on the show as I'm sure our audience is, to hear what you've been working on behind the scenes that's all AI focused and really helping brands 10x what they're doing without having to hire more team members. So I'm super stoked.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, me too. I could literally talk for hours on this. I do it in my community all the time. I just talk people's ears off. What specifically do you want to hear first? And then I will riff. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. So I think the first thing I think is super important is give me the overall sentiment from your community. You're talking to a lot of entrepreneurs, those that are just starting, those that have already hit 7 figures that want to scale beyond. So what do you hear? What's working today? What's not working? What are some of the pain points, and what's your overall sentiment on the market?
Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to the market, I think, in my opinion, what I've seen is the day and age of not differentiating without a clear, unique value proposition is gone. So if you're creating something that's the same as the other guy that, China can pretty much just replicate and spit out on Amazon, TikTok, whatever, Temu, who cares? You're dead. You're dead in the water. Unless you have some unreal advertising marketing capability like Grazza olive oil, which all they did was put clean olive oil into plastic bottles. Impressive, by the way. But unless you have that skill, you need to differentiate, obviously. I'm sure most of you are rolling your eyes in the back of your head, but I cannot tell you how utterly important it is to realize what is the niche within the niche. So obviously sports and outdoors, but then what's the niche within sports and outdoors that you want to operate in? But then most importantly, what is the UVP that no one is doing? What's the unique value proposition that no one's is doing? And that little 3-dot pie chart, whatever you want to call it, is billions of data points that the entire market's already telling you. And you just need to farm it. You need to figure that out and then obviously go make it. But without that, I have barely seen success with clients, with our own brands, whatever, right? If it is clearly similar or the same as something that already exists, unless you got the 6-7 figure marketing budget, good luck. But if you want to do this grassroots or you want to do this with actual skill, because any fool can sell something for less, you need to be creative. And that's where 10-80-10 rule AI is coming in hard, helping with that. So like I said, billions of data points. I can't analyze that. So that's what we're super excited about, is getting that piece of success. So it's, that's what we're seeing.
I love that. Well, I love that you touched on the 10-80-10 rule. And this is something important. If this is the first time the listener is hearing this rule actually comes from Steve Jobs and Apple, where again, what Steve Jobs was really good at is the first 10% of a new product idea would be genuinely like his idea. It's like this pie in the sky idea. I think we could go this direction. Okay, there's 10%. Here's the idea. Then 80% was then executed by his team, which is like fleshing out the idea, looking at the market opportunity. How would we actually bring this product to life? Really just like fleshing out the details. Then that would be coming back to him for the remaining 10% for him to either give additional feedback, pivot into the new direction, but like ultimately he would finish it all up. It's not like Steve Jobs carried everything from point A to point Z all by himself. And so that 10-80-10 principle is like the most important thing for entrepreneurs to understand, is like, it's all about leverage. Business is all about leverage. And you're constantly trying to find the highest leverage points in your business to be able to scale. And this is definitely one of them, especially as it relates to product development.
Yeah, I mean, it's spot on. You know, it's we have the ability to create, right, beyond anything of our imagination. The get the work done, though, that's the issue that I'd say most of us peter out on. Or if you're like me, you get everything to a certain percentage and then you see a new shiny thing and you keep moving. And you have the creative curse of ADHD or whatever you want to call it. That 80% now, though, that used to have to either deal with hunkering down in the trenches or hiring out a whole team to execute, right? Just like Steve Jobs would, right? And it's phenomenal. We actually, funny brought that up. I literally just saw the Steve Jobs movie, the Apple one with Ashton Kutcher, like 2 days ago again. Like, it's phenomenal watch. He was something special, man. But AI now is majority of that 80%, right? You still need human operators. You still need to garbage in, garbage out, treasure in, treasure out. So you need to make sure whatever that input is super valuable and gets you to where you want to go. But a lot of, call it what it is, monkey skills, you know, stuff that's repeatable over and over and over again. Essentially, if there's a formula or an algorithm, did you train someone to do it and then it's a repeatable task? AI is now doing that. You have agentic workflows, you have normal workflows, you have chat flows, you have whatever you want to do, but like AI is now doing that. So it's all in how you train it. And so making sure you train it well. Yeah, so that's what we're leaning in hard. That's what we've built a bunch. It has made our reporting mechanisms way easier, our advertising mechanisms way easier, and obviously our discovery and development mechanisms just fly off the shelf. So yeah, happy to dive in wherever.
Fantastic. Well, one thing on that note is I think that we're going to dive into your like tool that you created and like all the AI like agent stuff that you have going on there. But before we get to that, I want to have this conversation and kind of get your mind on this, because I know a lot of our listeners are thinking about this same thing right now, where it's like there is so much noise in the AI space right now. I mean, it is every day, every week, there's some new development in AI, and like you can't help but not just feel behind. No matter what you do, I think even the best in the business right now, they still feel like they're behind. Like there's something new changing so quick. Now, here's what I get from a lot of people. It's like, am I supposed to spend the majority of my time creating a bunch of clawbots and vibe coding stuff right now? Or like, where should I be spending my time? Because honestly, like you could get lost in the rabbit hole of AI and like literally spend every waking moment in like just creating stuff, and then stuff will work, stuff will break. You have to patch stuff and things like that. So I'm almost seeing it as brand owners need to identify, like, are you a SaaS business or are you actually a brand owner? Because I think like we're going to cross a fine line, I think in the coming months and year, where some tools, yes, you could vibe code them. Yes, you could build your own like AI tracking software tool, which could be helpful, but you could get that same thing for $50 a month as a software service, right? And arguably, I'm going to say there are times where I'm personally going to choose the $50 a month software service to go execute that for me, even though I know I could go vibe code it myself, but the hassle of, well, what happens when the script's not functioning properly, or the API connection is broke, or the report that was getting sent in is no longer the same formatting, so then I have to go change the backend. That's the type of stuff that like software companies have to deal with on a regular basis. So I think there's definitely like things that are worth your time and investing into AI agents and things like that. And then there's other times where I'm just going to pick this off the shelf, like $50 a month subscription, just because like I don't even have any mental load over this. I'll let them deal with all the technical stuff that comes with it. Give me your take on that, Shawn, because I know you're super into the weeds of AI. I'm personally not super into the weeds of AI. You would nerd out on it. I'm not so much. So give me your perspective on that.
Ooh, all right. Now we're talking about how we work, the achievement roadmap system. So actually, I'll quote my business coach. So Dan Martell, if you guys haven't been familiar with him, please go follow him. So spoiler alert, that was one of the answers to my questions at the end. But Dan Martell, just go follow him. Like he'll amp you up, he'll get you fit, he'll remind you what a good family life looks like and how to make hundreds of millions of dollars. Just do it. That being said, that might be the most valuable piece of advice I just gave on this whole podcast. Next is it going to make you money? So what pain point are you solving? Yeah, we can all build super cool tools by telling Manus or Claude Code or Claude or ChatGPT or Grok or Perplexity Computer or CloudBot or OpenClaw or what, dude, we go forever. Why? Like, one, what pain point is it solving in your life? So the tool I built, Kaldon, I just wanted to build it for myself because I was doing all these repeated tasks and training people how to do it. And there was all these broken systems just because I wanted to see it one way and, it wasn't being understood. And it was always 80% as good as I wanted it, et cetera. So I built it for myself. That was the initial outcome because it solved the pain point. Like, I need this stuff to be elite, best in class. And I don't have all the time in the day. So I was hiring people to do it. And maybe I'm not the best leader in educating, but whatever it was, the output wasn't always there. And so finally, I just built the tool. And now the people that I hired can use the tool and execute. But then two, is it going to make you money? Like, yes, we can all build better systems, but like, how is that? And this is just basic business 101. If every action you do isn't calculated to the dollar it returns, then you don't know your numbers and thus you don't know your business. Do you know what each of your VAs or your employees are worth to you? Like, how much revenue and how much profit do they pull in? If you don't know that, go find out right now. Go to hellofrank.ai, sign up, do that thing. It'll tell you this process that figuring out what types of products to sell, how to build them, how to scale them, how to grow them, how to create content and websites and CRMs. Like, if I don't know what that process is worth to me, then what am I doing? But that whole process is worth to me a valuable chunk, like 6+ figures a month. That is worth than me building it. So that's step one, is why would I build it myself versus a software? Is step two is this. And I've gone through this, right? One of the things that is classic is everyone wants a chatbot on their website, whether you're selling bamboo toothbrushes or you're, teaching people how to jump higher or whatever it is. You want some type of AI chatbot that has your knowledge base to answer questions 24/7 to your customers, to your users, to your whatever. I went through the most frustrating process for about 8-9 months. And that's when my business coach was like, you need to stop. And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, you're going down the wrong road. And so this was the biggest question I had for him. And this is just your execution framework, is how many times do you keep pushing on something, iterating and pushing until and this is a confusion I've always had as a doer, is how do I know this isn't the moment I just need to go one step more, or I need to change the path I'm on, right? We've all hit that wall. If you've ever tried to do anything hard in your life, you've hit that wall. It's like, so how do I know? It's like, maybe I just need to put a little bit more effort in. And then you're so committed and you're like, well, maybe just a little bit more. How do we know we're not going down the wrong rabbit hole, right? Time to climb back out and jump into the next one. And so this is the rule he gave me, is you get 3 hardcore 100% effort iterations. That's it. You get 3, my man. If you didn't figure it out in that third, you are moving on. Someone else might've been able to, but if you did not, get out and go do something else, because that is not for you. So when it came to building out versus using softwares, I tried 3 different softwares for the chatbot specifically. So majority of what we operate on our websites is now a chatbot that I had to build, because everything that chatbots had and all the chatbot softwares, you got CloseBot, I'm not going to name softwares. There's a bunch. There's so many. But anyways, they're all decision trees. They're all like, if this, then that, if this, then that, if this, then that. And so in order to program them, given knowledge base for that AI and that chatbot to then access and base off that decision tree, you have to essentially come up with every possible decision tree that someone might walk you through in a conversation. Now, if it's a sales conversation or it's a client success conversation or a customer service conversation, it's typically a normal flow that you're going to guide, right? You as the professional are going to guide that person in a conversation. If any of you are in sales or have ever done sales, you obviously know you guide the combo. As soon as the, attendee is guiding the conversation, you lost the power, you lost the sale, right? That's the whole thing. So yes, I understand for most basic JV style use cases, you can use those if-then decision tree chatbots. But what if we want something that's analytical? What if we want something that thinks outside the box? What if we want something that I don't want to spend every day or every other week, sitting in there trying to figure out the new decision tree and going back and forth to my LLM and asking, oh no, is this a new decision tree that I need to program? Dude, I was literally pulling my hair out of my head. And then above that, it would hallucinate and it would start saying weird things. Like, I remember this conversation, some guy's like, hey man, did you for real work for the fire service? And, I retired in 2022. I worked for LA County and loved the job, promoted through the ranks, was about to make captain before retiring, all this stuff, right? The chatbot, for whatever reason, hit the wrong decision tree and started hallucinating, saying that I was some special service member in Seattle. And I'm like, what is happening right now? So that being said, I'm sure you guys have seen some fun hallucinations. I even had a content generation tool. I was working through creating different product style images for a product. And on like the 7th iteration, it gave me a portrait of some random dude. Like, and then the next one was a bird on a twig. Like, so dude, it will hallucinate. So my point is it answering the pain point, and does that pain point make you money?
Love
that's
it.
all. Yeah. It's all on the foot of, you need to know what each pain point is worth to you. So
yeah, I think that's a really good mindset shift, especially like I really love like the 3 efforts of like 100%, right? My favorite analogy is, or the image that you see is the guy who's like digging for gold, and he's like one pick more away from like hitting the diamonds and the gold, but then like turns around and walks away, right? But he never knew he was like just right there. And I think like that's always like for entrepreneurs, you're like, oh, well, but it might just be my next attempt. Entrepreneurs are very optimistic, but I love that like mindset, that framework to say like 3 100% efforts. And if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit, and you move on. I definitely have seen that in my own business, where the first time we tried to get on TikTok Shop, like it was a complete failure, right? And we worked with an agency. On the flip side, like then I took it over and gave it my best effort. And even like in hindsight, I look at my best effort and I laugh at it today. So I'm like, oh man, that was very janky at the time, but it worked. And it worked, and it started to get us some momentum. And then we just kept doubling down and refining the process and getting better and better over times. And then there's also been other times where back in, I think like the 2017 to 2020 era, I wanted to get on Shopify. And I think we tried probably 10 different times of like trying to figure out Shopify, trying to scale Shopify. And it's like failure after failure after failure after failure after failure. However, lo and behold, after we find success on TikTok Shop, we then span up because we knew what the creative offers were, what people were attracted to. Sure enough, on the 11th time, and 5 years later, Shopify starts working for us. And so I think that back then I should have probably like stopped after the 3rd attempt at Shopify and gone back to Amazon. Would have saved me a lot more money, and then come back to Shopify when there is a new thing that has changed where it gives you a new perspective. So anyways, I just love that like mindset shift. And I think it's super applicable, and especially in the world of AI that we're diving into here, it's like find the things that like are going to give you the most leverage and generate revenue in your business. So with that being said, I'm super excited to dive into your tool, Shawn. Like, let's go ahead. If you want to share your screen, so those of you listening to the podcast, make sure you come check us out on YouTube, because Shawn's going to basically walk us through the AI tool that he has built to really like all the softwares that we're all used to using, which is Helium 10, the Jungle Scouts, the Data Dives of the world. Those are all great. But as Shawn just mentioned, like I tried using all of these things and it still wasn't giving me the output that I wanted. So he built his own. He has a crazy number of API connections in here. I'll let him explain even more into this. But what does this new future of product development and new product opportunity look like in the age of AI, Shawn?
All right. Well, in my opinion, it looks like Kaldon. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Welcome to Kaldon.ai. So this is the software we built. Now, let's go through the pain points. I am teaching all the time. I obviously run a few of my own brands with my wife and I. We've had great success. It's allowed me to retire from a very well-paid fire service job that I absolutely loved. And if you know LA, Southern California, you know we get paid very well. We're the best trained firemen in the world. So paramedics, USAR, hazmat, like you call 911 here, the same people show up. Doesn't matter what it's for, because they're set to handle it all. So that being said, we've had a lot of success. Thus, we have a lot of formulaic pieces, SOPs, SLAs, like all the good stuff. And if I showed you my database of what to do, when to do it, how to do it, it's pretty extensive, right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars of training have gone into figuring that out. It's essentially boiled down to, though, when we're building brands from scratch, which we teach people how to do, a lot of them first responders. Obviously, I'm best fit to teach the person that I used to be. So a lot of them firemen, cops, medics, nurses, doctors, but not all, right? If you are an ambitious individual with same core values of, integrity and teamwork and, that sense of grit and delayed gratification, that I can get stuff done, but I can do it over a year or 2 years, this is the type of business that is for you. Nothing about this is get rich quick, which right? Like, do not get into e-commerce whether it's Amazon or D2C or any of it, if you're trying to make money in the next 3 to 6 months. Like, nope, you are going to be pouring out. Just know that. But just like building any business, it's a upside down parabola. It's a flat line, that hockey stick, but you need the flat line before you get to the vertical, right? You need to have that flat line. So what does that flat line look like? So here, the pain points that we were wanting to solve is the 5 phases are discover. So what am I going to sell? And let me go ahead and open this up here. So a new analysis, we have 3 different modes of discover. Is 1, fresh up. I don't know anything. or I'm building a brand new brand, or I already have two very successful brands. They're just on autopilot and, my partners are running them and I want to build something else. Go ahead and discover, figure that out. Give me a product category, target cost of goods, COGS, target sale price, what you think. Just go with it. See what happens. Any additional constraints, and although this window is a little small, you can put tons of stuff into it. So like, for example, one of the products that I wanted to search was, what's something for burned out shift workers, blue collar workers that don't have enough time to actually get real workouts in. They're working 12-hour beat shifts. They get home, they're super tired. They go to sleep, they wake up, they do it all over again, right? And the whole holistic wellness, everyone like needs to do like cold showers and saunas. And believe me, I know, I used to teach that stuff. So, right. You can get your inversion stretching, your breath work. And these guys are like, dude, I'm freaking smelting iron. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I don't have time for all this. I literally put that in here and it created me a whole supplement stack with formulations, a brand name, all this stuff called Shift Force, all this, like unbelievable. So you can be as specific as you want in the constraints. Then go ahead and run the discovery. Now, full disclosure, this is where the power comes in. A discovery will take anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes of analysis. So be patient. It'll show you the flywheels, all that stuff going on, but it is pinging 178 different APIs. You have 11 LLMs working in tandem, hitting every single marketplace as if it's a McKinsey marketplace analysis team. I mean, this process right here is the same thing that used to take us 3 or 4 weeks with 7 team members using the analytic tools like Jungle Scout, Helium 10, Data Dive, and SEMrush for Google, and TikTok Trends, and Meta Ad Library. And honestly, you think it, we probably already thought of it and attached it here. So you were getting the same level of keywords as any of the big dogs from Amazon. You're also getting Walmart keywords. You're getting Etsy keywords. You're getting obviously anything that is SEO or GEO, which is now the AI search because everyone's finding their stuff through ChatGPT now, not Google. But you are getting all those heavily searched for keywords, analytics, et cetera. And then it's analyzing. But on top of that, it's also analyzing the demographics because as we know with TikTok Shop, Instagram, anything that's social forward, Facebook, they don't give a shit what you're searching for in keywords. They care about who you are. That's why your algorithms are so tested to either piss you off or get you, super excited about something. That's why if you lean just a smidge right or a smidge left politically, that's all you get because they are trying to figure out who you are and they just give you more of it. So in the product or service-based business, we want to attach ourselves to that, right? We want to figure out if those algorithms already know who we are, we should be pulling that in. So who's our key demographic and what product are they already searching for? And then most importantly, how do we make it better? How do we make it better than something that already exists out there? Right? You don't need to be the first computer. Apple wasn't. You don't need to be the first phone. Apple wasn't, but they made that better. So how do we fall in line? Just like Steve Jobs. We'll keep him as the theme of the talk show, right? How do you do that? How do you make that thing better? And this is what we're harping on. This is what it's a 180-page thesis. I think it's 72 different prompts. So it's multiple prompts going back and forth, all iterating and figuring that out just to give you a possible product discovery. Then let's say you already have a product idea, which a lot of us already operate in this space, right? Especially with the Ecom Breakthrough, audience, majority of us are already 7-figure sellers. Like, dude, I got this. I already have, but I got this new idea. I got the new shiny thing and I've been seeing it. An example of this, when this would have been super useful, would have been one of my first very successful products was a wooden cocktail smoker. That was the first product I ever sold 120,000 in one day. Unreal. So 120K out the window. Amazon, I thought my app broke. It was in 2021. I literally we're about boarding a flight and, in the holiday season, I turned to my wife. I was like, is this broken? It was one of our big first holy cow moments. This is unreal, dude. When something goes viral, it booms. So that would have been an example of what to put here. Now at the time, 2021, there was no wooden cocktail smokers. Now for reference, I'm not a big drinker. And if you guys have never seen these things, they're actually really cool. So it's this wooden piece that you put on top of a cocktail. It's like a lid. And then in it, it's got a bevel or a chimney or something where you put wood chips into it. And the bottom of the piece that's sitting on top of the cocktail has little aeration holes. And then you have a little filter, mesh metal filter that you'll put on top so you don't get blowback when you torch the actual wood chips. Then you put a lid on top of it. So those wood chips now are smoking through the aeration holes and actually smoking the drink. It makes whiskey, tequila, mezcal, pick your poison, taste really cool and really good. And it's a showstopper and it's awesome for the table. And restaurants, high-end steak restaurants are using them all over the place now. It is a cool freaking product. So that didn't really exist though. We saw it at some restaurant randomly and hadn't seen it online. And so at the time, all that exists were electric smokers or, the weird stuff that would happen behind the bar, whatever. But this piece didn't really exist yet. It was very new. It was very up and coming. That would have been something I could have put here. So I would put in the product name, something like cocktail smoker, product URL, if there is one, optional. And then product images, you can go ahead and upload if you want. If you had any of them, take a iPhone shot, take a phone shot of your product so they can verify, right? Remember, AI can actually see what's in your photo. Product category niche, in that case, I would put, cocktail accessories or something like that. And then target COGS, target sale price, additional constraints, right? Anything I want. Go ahead and vet it. Again, same vetting analysis is going to happen. It's going to be a little quicker than that 15 to 20 minute process because now we're already pinpointed on the needle in the haystack and we just need to see the market around it. But same analysis, right? Is it being searched for? Is there demographics? Who wants it? How often are they searching for it? Amazon APIs, Walmart, Meta, TikTok, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's all attached, right? These analyses are not cheap, right? So you click this, it's not a couple cents for us. It's actually pretty expensive, which is why the platform is priced as it is. But then let's say you're Josh Hadley and you have an amazing brand already. I want to expand this and I don't know what new product to add to my brand. Let's say it is time for that because in realistic world, in order for us to take an 8-figure brand to a 9-figure brand, what do we have to do, Josh?
We have to scale. We have to launch more products.
Exactly. How do I know if it's the right choice? How do I know if it's tangential? How do I know if is this pulling away from my brand or is this adding to my brand? Is this something that's going to cross promote to my already customers, right? Is it, if I'm buying pet food mats, I'm probably going to need a pet food bowl and a pet food bowl stand. And what comes next is maybe pet food and then maybe pet food treats. And then, right, what comes next? But I don't know that. That's just my gut. I want billions of data points. I want multiple PhD level analysts telling me at a 6th grade level, so I know what they're saying, what to build, right? The market is already there. The billions of data points are already there, but I don't have in my feeble little human mind the capacity to analyze all that and go and have the time to search on the internet, all that stuff. So we built that. So in this case,
on that note, Shawn, I love that. By the way, one thing I would add to that, just for our listeners, is one of the best things to do if you're considering like what's the next new product to launch. Like it truly is like honing in on who your customer avatar is. And one product is going to solve one pain point, which is then going to lead to another pain point, right? Just because you have like the silicone mat for the dog and his water dish, right? Well, okay, well, the dog drank, but now the dog's hungry. And so now the dog needs something for, how is he getting fed? Is it an automated feeder or things like that? Well, once the dog is then fed, the dog needs to exercise. So what does the dog need to exercise? The dog needs to entertain him. Like you can go on and on and on. I just think that that's the most important thing for entrepreneurs to understand is like all you're trying to do is think of who is my customer and how do I solve pain points? And every product you launch should be like, you should see it as this like customer journey or life cycle of like, I solve this, then they're going to experience this pain point. Then I solve that. Then my next product solves this pain point. So again, I think if you use that framework and dump that type of stuff into this, like now I'm actually really excited to see like what it's going to come out. If I've clearly articulated to this AI who my customer avatar is, my current products that solve current pain points, but I'm not even sure what the next pain points might even be.
Yes. Yep. You were spot on. I think a crude quote from my business coach was, don't sell multivitamins, sell painkillers. And what he meant by that is like, you're not masking something or preventative. Like you need to be actually solving pain points. Like now we can go into the existential, painkiller ethics. But the point is right. If you are not solving the pain point, you're not solving the problem. You're actually not helping someone out. Like, so absolutely spot on. We need solutions, right? Whether it's time, money, or both, we need solutions. Can you get it to me quicker or cheaper or more effectively? Please. That's what we're always trying to optimize. That's how the human mind works, constantly solution oriented. So if you're connecting people at that level, you're going to connect with them. So spot on. Yeah. So enter in here for expand brand. You would enter in everything about your brand. Images of current products, your brand URL, your existing products, one per line, please. But go ahead and just enter them all in category, niche, target COGS and sale price range of what you're looking for, and then additional constraints, and go ahead and run that expansion analysis. All right. Now that we have the 3 types of what to discover, what comes next? So we'll go ahead and we will look into an analysis here. So this is what your analysis is going to look like. So this was an example of something for, like I was talking about, this is different from the shift force, like hydration thing that, when I input for shift workers that don't have time for, workouts and gathering, essentially their nervous system is way too dysregulated. Why do I know that? Because that was me. I was literally working 4 to 5, 24-hour shifts a week for 14 years. I did not know what rest and digest actually felt like. Like it literally, you feel jet lag just permanently. So, if you ever flown 12 hours and just feel that like horrid jet lag, that was like forever. It's miserable. So how do we combat that, right? We can't get our sleep back. So what do we do? So this was another one that it came out with. I gave it those constraints. You can see premium supplements in the category, cost of goods, $5 or less, sale price of $35. This is what the analysis looked like. So it literally comes up with a brand name for me. Now, obviously check if this is trademarked or already in use or already in market, but it comes up with what it could find. So if it's not heavily already marketed, it will tell you this brand name. Vagal tone, psychobiotic, symbiotic complex. What does that all mean? What that means is essentially you have the vagus nerve, not to get too nerdy here, but that is what essentially controls your fight or flight or your rest and digest. Are you ready to go, or are you actually resting, repairing? Are you excited? Are you in a stressful state? Or are you in a relaxed state? Obviously, we need to be in both throughout the day. However, with phone stimulation, social media, news, etc., obviously we're always on our computers, we're always working, we're always expected to be working, or you might just have a really stressful life and not understand how to ground and regulate your emotions. You're probably in a fight or flight state all the time. We need to be in that relaxed parasympathetic state multiple times a day, especially at night, because that is the only area where our brain creates memories and our body repairs at a cellular level. So if we are not entering into that, if we're not doing breath work and relaxing and chilling the F out and going for nature walks or whatever, right? Do things that make you human. Remember, you're a human being, not a human doing. So be human. So if you're not doing those things that put you in the parasympathetic, dude, you are literally killing yourself slowly. It is a slow death of 1,000 cuts, and do not do that. It takes minimum stuff. You just have to transition out of that fight or flight state, that stress state, into that relaxed state. Plus, here's the fun part, is all solutions are made in your brain in that relaxed state. And all creativity is made in your brain in that relaxed state. So if you want to come creatively to problem solve, to build, to et cetera, you need to consciously enter into that. So this was the solution that Kaldon gave us. It gave us a strong opportunity, 7.5 out of 10. So what is this? A premium psychobiotic symbiotic complex specifically formulated for vagus nerve activation via the gut-brain axis, fills a clear positioning gap. By the way, did you know the majority of your serotonin is produced in your gut? One of your feel-good endorphins, hormones, is produced in your gut. So if you have a leaky gut, a horrible gut microbiome, a inconsistent gut, tons of acid reflux, you're not just messing with your stomach, bro. You're messing with your brain. So we got to fix that gut-brain axis. Here it says no Amazon product currently claims this niche explicitly. The main risk is unproven keyword demand since vagus nerve probiotic is nascent as a search term. Now, that being said, that's actually a blue ocean. So back to my wooden cocktail smoker. That wasn't a key word yet because it didn't exist. So welcome to a blue ocean. You have supplements that are already on the market about regulating your nervous system. This one's the next level up, right? People are already searching for your tangential. What do you need to do now to get them to your current level? Requiring social first demand generation. So obviously we need to educate our customers. That's anytime you create a UVP, you need to educate. We typically do that UGC content, your user-generated content, TikTok shop on your meta ads, also Amazon with your video ads, or your product image better be freaking clear what it is. And obviously your listing, there should be no question. This product is best suited for a brand builder willing to educate the market via TikTok, Instagram content, and D2C subscriptions, rather than relying purely on Amazon search volume. I love it. It actually gave you that recommendation. So not only how to launch, but where to launch. And it gives you best signal, key risk, top action. And then here's one of my favorite parts. It gives you actual visual product mockups, because what's the missing piece? Everything I've talked about is someone still needs to go build this. Someone in a factory still needs to put this stuff together. So when you connect with your suppliers, which we have here, the analysis gives you this, by the way, the template to connect, who to connect to, where to reach out. It's already done that research. Remember, you got to give them visuals. You got to give them explanations. You got to give them, this is what I want. This is the formulation I want currently in a supplement. But obviously, if it was anything else, it would give them specifically that. But we're not all just supplements here. But it'll give you all that stuff to get to your product manager or your supplier or your manufacturer. And then on top of that, if you want to do any pre-launch campaigns before your product is actually built, you need this image. You need these visuals. You need lifestyle images. You need visuals. You need packaging. You need size reference, which we'll go ahead and regenerate here. Every now and then, right, there's an error in the API connection. Just go ahead and click regenerate. And then if you want another take, you just go ahead and click get another take. So you need these images to build out your website, build out your content, build out all that visual content assets, which, fun fact, is all part of Kaldon. But we'll get there. Then you get your in-depth structured analysis. And I won't go through this in detail because obviously this is a very in-depth report, PhD level, 6th grade understanding. So product name and overview, product viability score right now gives it a 7.5 out of 10. And why? Market opportunity summary, competitive landscape, differentiation strategy, obviously the secret sauce. So essentially right now, all we've answered is this market worth going after? And then if so, how do we stand out? Manufacturing options, like I was saying, is who do we reach out to? It already found the best. A lot of them are domestic here in the United States, which is awesome. If you're in the supplement world, you know that. It's one of the few product categories that you can almost guarantee to have a domestic supplier. Fun fact though, most of them source their stuff internationally. So don't be, shooting yourself in the foot if you have a Chinese supplier with supplements. It's the same stuff. That's probably where your American supplier is getting it from, right? There's no coffee made in America. So there's no such thing as made in USA coffee. Same thing with most of the ingredients. So it gives you all your tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers. And then at the bottom, you got your supplier cards, where to reach them, view on Alibaba. You can copy the outreach here. So what message should I send to them? So if I click view on Alibaba, it'll take me to the Alibaba in the search query. I go ahead and click on their profile. I go ahead and copy the outreach, copy paste in the message. We're off and running. And then continue down. What does the profitability and ROI projection look like for this product? Then, all right, we're looking at COGS. We're looking at percentage of revenue, referral fee, FBA fulfillment fee, PPC test, total cost, net profit per unit. So that's Amazon specific, but it also does D2C specific. And then it does totality specific, even breaks down into what phases you should launch and where, first year totals, base scenario, payback period, ROI, right? All the KPIs that you need to know. Is this worth going into? How much should I look to invest? How long until I get that back? What am I looking at after, a year, 2 years, 3 years, et cetera? Then your risk assessment mitigation, your brand building potential, and your strategic recommendation. And then lastly, your action plan. What to do, when to do it, how to do it. And then on top of that, if any of that is unclear, you got down here, like I was saying earlier, a chatbot. And this chatbot here is connected to the entire analysis and obviously everything else that Kaldon does. So go ahead and ask it all you want to know about the report, because guess what? This is a lot of text. And then if you want, you can go ahead and launch this product. Now, what that does is it locks it into your profile. So what we've created is everyone who's doing discovery analysis may just run analysis, and then that amazing product may not get launched. So this product right here, this Vagal Tone product, no one's launched it, which is why I was able to bring it up. So if after 14 days, you haven't launched this product, essentially locked it to your profile, it's going to get released to the masses. So there's a scrolling window at the login page. So they might be able to capture it. You'll be notified. Don't worry, because that obviously you paid to have that analysis done. You'll be notified, hey, your product's about to be released. But you can also capture other people's products, because other people have different perspectives on how to search for stuff, how to research stuff, et cetera, of things you may want to iterate off of and all that. That was the in-depth piece, because the rest is, now that I know what to sell, I've iterated with my chatbot, and you can rerun this analysis, by the way. So at the very top, let's say I came up with some ideas with the chatbot. I go ahead and rerun the analysis. I rerun it with the updates. I literally give it the updates that the chatbot told me, and I rerun it to see if I can get a better score than 7.5 out of 10. I love a 10 out of 10, right? So let's make sure we hit that. Let's make sure we know what to do and how to do it and where to do it. But what comes next? Let's say now I've reached out to product manufacturer. I have this thing going. What now? Well, that's what we built. In the build phase, you get what's called a brand vault, where you build out your brand's identity, the names, the voice, the colors, the logos, the image. You keep reiterating on that stuff. You just get another take, or tell it how to iterate. You can tell the software, I like this, keep this, don't do that, et cetera. Then lock it in. Now that you've locked it in, you now have a brand board generator and a brand voice settings that will exist across the platform for the rest of the content, for the rest of what we're building. Next comes create. So create is content calendar, one-off composer, video studio, which is available. It says here available on growth plan, but that's just because it's a test account that I'm in. Landing pages and marketplace listings. Holy cow. So we have APIs connected to all of the best. And I mean that. And if something comes out better, then we connect it to that and replace it. All of the best content generation, all the best image generation, all of the best video generation. We have 17 different image and video content generation models that are all elite connected here. And we're adding more, but it's based on use case, right? So like Nano Banana 2 right now is the best for realistic, but putting text on photos. So if you're not using the latest from Nano Banana 2, please go use that for text on photos, because we've all seen the gibberish. Video composer depends, right? You might like C-Dream, you might like VO 3.1, depends on what kind of video, right? So we've attached per use case. So you're going to create all this. You get your content calendar. Why? Because you're going to start posting to social media. And you're going to do one-off composers, because you're going to want to post different ads. You want to, get this out to the world, whether it's your Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, et cetera. It's all generated here based off the product and brand you just built. Or if you input your brand and you input your already existing brand, it's going to start creating stuff. Or you've already input your product that you already have, it's going to start creating stuff. Iterate with it, create stuff. Now you have 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, etc. social media posts and ads. And then of course your marketplace listings, my Amazon listing, my Walmart listing, my TikTok shop listing, my Etsy listing, my you name it listing. We need those built. And each one of those has specific criteria. So we want them built to that level. Well, guess what? All of it's formulaic. So we just put it in here. And we made sure the prompts for all of it are the best of the best in class. And then you got launch phase. So connect your social accounts, which we're working on right now. Right now, it's going to be just save your photos and videos and then you attach them into your own social accounts. I actually recommend doing that because the platforms know when you're using software to post. So doing in-platform posting is actually the best way. So even if you connect your social account to Kaldon and it auto posts for you, which we're going to have that feature, actually recommend not even doing that. Still have you or a VA save it and then actually upload it in platform. The platform knows, right? Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Then a blog engine. What's the blog engine for? Store operations is what comes next. Is we are actually building out your website, your CRM, your entire platform is going to be built out. So now your website will be built out on a CRM with your email campaigns, SMS campaigns, all branded to that brand that you just created or already had. Your ads will already be getting created here, and they'll be all auto-populating into your CRM so you can connect your ad accounts and just have them start auto-posting or auto-creating and auto-iterating. All of that is in one stop. So in totality, this is what Kaldon does, and it's only going to keep getting better. But we've taken the answer of these are all the 5 phases that used to take a lot of time for us, for our clients, for our own brands. And now I've essentially not automated, but done the 10-80-10 with each of these pieces. And I want you to have that at your hands and at your feet as well. And if there is the most elite LLM or the most elite LLM model or the most elite content generation model, it is the one attached here, believe me. And if one becomes the better, we then swap them out. Because at the end of the day, I'm doing this for me and my own, and I only want the best, the most elite, and I don't settle for less. So that's what you guys will be getting by using this stuff, and onward.
Fantastic. Shawn, love the walkthrough. Definitely moving into a whole new phase of business with the AI revolution going on right now. So Shawn, I love to leave the audience with 3 actionable takeaways from every episode. Here are the 3 actionable takeaways that I noted. Number 1, make sure that you are implementing the 10-80-10 principle into your business. That is probably one of the first most basic steps that an entrepreneur can make, is understanding that you need leverage in your business to create revenue. And so number 1, you should be the idea guy coming up with the first 10%. Give it to a team with process or AI to then carry it the remaining 80%. And just like what you showed us today with Kaldon, like it's there, but then you still need that remaining 10% of your like special sauce that you add on that only you as an entrepreneur have, that you can see a unique angle into the market. Or how are you going to differentiate it? What polishing do you bring to the idea and process? So that's the 10-80-10 principle. If you're not actively doing that in your business, start today. Action item number 2, you touched on this, but it's not getting distracted. And it's all about focus. Entrepreneurs need to focus on revenue generating activities in their business, period. And so here's my biggest caution. Yes, there's a lot of shiny objects out there with AI, and it could automate this and it could automate that. But the most important thing that you should be focused on, for me, it's AI that helps generate revenue in the business. So new product opportunities, taking my brand into international marketplaces, expanding onto additional sales channels, creating new offers or new products, again, that are unique, maybe even patented. Those are the areas of your business that are going to drive future growth. And so be focused on those areas. And if you're going to implement AI, do it in those areas. My 3rd and final action item is, again, doing a time study so that you understand what your time is worth and where you actually investing your time. Because I would argue where a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck is what I call the swamp, is they've already got $1 million brand, great, but it hasn't yet crossed 5 million. And so a lot of it is just kind of like a lot of sweat equity in order to get yourself to the next level. Well, make sure that you have identified where you're spending most of your time, because if you're spending most of your time trying to optimize the business and just basic processes, you're never going to get out of that swamp. You have to be focused on, again, go back to see point number 2, revenue generating opportunities to get you to that 8-figure range, which then you can hire people and have them work on optimizing and making things more efficient. So those are my 3 actionable takeaways. Shawn, anything you would add to those?
I love it, man. Dude, if you could just implement those three, you would be such a more effective human being. Yeah.
Always something where everybody's always working on those. That's for sure. Shawn, as we wrap things up, love to ask you the following three questions. Number one, what's been the most influential book that you've read and why?
Recently is Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell, because then it pushed me into hiring him as my business coach. And now I'm in his community. And I think everything there has just been absolutely life-changing.
Definitely a great book recommendation. What's your favorite AI tool that you've been using and how have you been using it?
Aside from Kaldon, Claude. Everything Claude. Claude Code, Claude Cowork, Claude, or Perplexity and Perplexity Computer. Between those two, I think you could take over the world. And then for content generation, either FreePick or Hicksfield. I like FreePick more for e-commerce purpose, but if I had to pick, I would say Claude and FreePick. You could just have at it.
Love it. I guess my third and final question that I think I already know the answer to, but who is somebody that you would recommend other people follow?
Yep, Dan Martell. Yeah, if you haven't already, hop on. He'll give it to you straight. Just follow his Instagram, follow his YouTube, get in his world, get in his sphere, read his books. Yeah, he's a real deal.
Fantastic. Well, Shawn, this has been awesome. Great having you back on the show. If people want to learn more about you, want to learn more about the software that you've built, where's the best place to find you?
At Ecom for Heroes with one M, not two, like Ecom Breakthrough, but Ecom for Heroes. We're on all the social media, so LinkedIn, Instagram. Instagram is probably the easiest. Or you can email me, Shawn, SEAN, at ecom1m4heroes.com. Yeah, and just message Hadley. Last name here, Josh Hadley, if you guys want 10% off any of our items. And then I'll also include a affiliate link for Josh for Kaldon to give to you guys as well.
Beautiful. Well, very generous of you, Shawn, giving the audience some massive value there. So definitely go follow Shawn, go check out his tool. Lots of really exciting stuff that, again, it's not necessarily, I think, going to replace a VA. It's going to replace a lot of the things that they were doing. However, it's going to 10x their productivity. So instead of just doing one product per month, now it's like, hey, I want you giving me 10 new products per month. That's the power of this tool. So, Shawn, thanks again for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right. So I spoke to Shawn after the show because I wanted to clarify whether if I upload new products into this tool in my own brand, if those product ideas are going to be shared with everybody else. That was my main concern, is my IP protection. And so Shawn did come back and reassure me that it's only for like new product discoveries for those that are like starting out with a brand and stuff like that. Those product ideas get shared to the world after 14 days. But if you're like an existing brand owner, those ideas do not get shared out to the public, which is good news. So continue on.
Thank you for listening. Visit EcommBreakthrough.com for more information. If you've enjoyed today's episode, the best way you can show your appreciation is by clicking the subscribe button and quickly leaving a review. See you again next time.